Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's AEW Rampage from August 12th, 2022, recorded after Dynamite August 10th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So right after the big Quake at the Lake edition of Dynamite ended with a great title match with Jon Moxley defeating Chris Jericho to retain the interim AEW World title. Then, out of nowhere, the AEW World Champion CM Punk made his return from injury without saying a word, told us that he was ready to fight Moxley for the unification match when Punk stomped his surgically repaired foot on the mat. So, along with that and all the big trios tournament news from Dynamite, this could possibly be a tough Rampage to follow all of that in front of the same fans. But this week, episode of Rampage will start with Bryan Danielson's music hitting, and the crowd goes absolutely wild. So that's a good way to follow all that up with the Bryan Danielson promo here. We're told that Bryan Danielson is going to be talking, and this will basically be his big return promo that we never got so far, with Danielson basically just losing to Daniel Garcia a few weeks ago without really having a return promo. Garcia made Bryan pass out to win that match, and they will fight again on this next week of Dynamite in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bryan Danielson gets to the ring. Tony Schiavone's there, and he asks about Bryan's health. Also mentioning that Garcia is now calling himself the Dragon Slayer. So Bryan Danielson says, to be honest, I've been wrestling 23 years. I don't think I'll ever be 100% again. But all I have to do is feel 100%, which is easy because I love being in this ring. I'll never leave this ring voluntarily, and Garcia won't end my career this Wednesday. But then Daniel Garcia now comes out and he says, it's no secret. Bryan Danielson, you were my hero, and you are my hero, Bryan. It sounds like to me my hero is prepared to lose and coming up with excuses. I don't know how many times we can put up with this. You keep coming back, getting injured, coming back, getting injured. You're putting your fans through too much. And it's hurting me. When you hurt me, it makes me want to hurt you. Next week, I'll hurt you so bad that I'll end your career. You'll not just call me the Dragon Slayer, but the greatest technical sports entertainer in history. Bryan Danielson says, I've been talking about how much I love violence, but what I really hate is that sports entertainment bullcrap. I talked about wanting to mentor you because you look like you were one of the best young talents to come around in years. But do you want to be the best technical sports entertainer, or do you want to be the best technical wrestler in the world? You say I was your hero. I'll leave that for you to decide. So then Bryan Danielson goes to walk away, having put Garcia in his place a little bit here, but Garcia did have a few shots as well. Good promo battle here. It should be interesting to see how they handle this booking with Danielson losing the first match. Is he going to come back and just win this match? Is it going to be 50-50 booking? Even if Bryan does win, Garcia could say for the rest of his career that he slayed the dragon. That chance won't change. Although maybe it won't all be bad, or maybe Garcia just wins again. But then you got to remember how hot Bryan Danielson was at the beginning of 2022, at the end of 2021. It would definitely be a shame from the kind of just fizzle out in the second half of the year here. Danielson should be fighting someone like a CM Punk for the title before losing the younger guys at the ender part of his career. It's a little awkward to have that already happening, but it is good that Garcia got the win. Don't get me wrong on that one. So I'm not sure that Garcia should get beat again, or I'm not sure if Garcia should win twice. And I don't really want 50-50 booking either. So long story short, I think it's a mistake to book this match again, but I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out on Wednesday. And after that, the JAS intro hits. I wasn't quite sure who was going to come out, but it turns into Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara comes out with Ty Conti. The newlywed couple is wearing their AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships, and those titles will be on the line right now in this match against hometown hero from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dante Martin, and his real-life girlfriend, Skye Blue. So this should be interesting. We saw Sammy beat Dante Martin 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, with Ty Conti also attacking Skye Blue after the match. The crowd goes absolutely wild when Minnesota's own Dante Martin comes out alongside his partner, Skye Blue. Don't forget, this is a title match. The AAA promotion in Mexico has a mixed tag division and title that Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti have the title of. This match starts with all four brawling in the ring. The ladies then brawl on the outside while Dante takes down Sammy Guevara in the ring twice with nice ankle trips. Sammy then counters the next move with a knee strike. Skye Blue was slammed back first into the barricade and is now finally back up on the apron. Dante's gaining some steam here, but Ty Conte tags in, meaning that Dante has to leave and Skye Blue has to come in instead. Ty then hits a judo throw on Skye Blue, but Skye Blue's able to slap the face of Ty Conte twice here. And the announcers, I noticed, kept calling her Ty Melo, which I think is her real name, but we've never really, it's always just kind of been Tay or Ty. Just kind of weird. Ty Nara was also mentioned before, but Ty Melo is a little awkward. I wonder what they've said it at least 10 times during this match. So I wonder where that's going to go. Maybe her new name will be something like Ty Melo Guevara or something. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, Ty gets a takedown and applies a modified STF, but Skye Blue gets out, hits a bad-looking step-up knee strike, but she hits a second one in a row. That one was a little better. Skye then hits a spinning thrust kick and an enziguri kick, but Sammy trips Skye Blue from the outside of the ring, and then Ty crushes Skye with a pump kick to her face. Big shot there. The crowd boos Sammy and Ty as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Ty Conti has Skye Blue's throat across the ropes, then hits another big judo throw. Skye gets a nice pin for a 2 count, like a Mahi Straw cradle type deal, but Ty Conti hits a big forearm right after that, after kicking out to keep control. Ty Conti hits another pump kick, but this time in the corner. Ty tries it a second time, but Skye Blue is able to evade that attack right as we come back from ad break. Now Skye hits an enziguri and is able to tag in Dante Martin. Of course, Sammy Guevara has to come in too. Dante is able to take down Sammy 3 times in a row with quick action, spring like running moves, finishing with a drop kick here. Dante wants to dive out to the outside to attack to attack Sammy Guevara, but Ty attacks Dante from behind. Dante then is able to avoid the attack, however, by using the bottom rope to flip right over Ty Conti's attack. Then Dante dives out to Sammy Guevara like he wanted to. Ty is able to grab the leg of Dante when he comes back in the ring, allowing Sammy Guevara time to recover. Skye Blue is a little too hurt at this point to help out. Dante then flips out of the next attack, jumps off the back of Ty Conti, hitting a Canadian Destroyer on Sammy Guevara. That was awesome and fluid, by far the best move of the night. Sammy then fights back with a jumping knee strike, but Dante blocks a GTH attempt right after that. Skye Blue now tags in, and of course, Ty Conti has to as well. Ty hits a tornado DDT on Dante Martin first, however, but Skye comes in and hits Ty with a top rope Hurricane Rana. However, right after that, Ty Conti is able to hit the Ty KO for the 1-2-3. The winners of this match by pinfall, and still AAA mixed tag team champions Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara. So they celebrate their title defense here, the retention, with a kiss, and then we just quickly move on to the next segment. So this match was fine. I've never been a big fan of the mixed tag team matches where you can do all the isolation in the world to wear someone down, but the second you tag out, the fresh person has to come in anyway. So it's basically always just 2 separate singles matches that switch in and out. But we did see the heels in this match, Ty and Sammy, attack the other gender, but it's still not really a great match type. At least Dante wasn't injured too badly in his match 2 weeks ago against Sammy. The reports were that Dante Martin got a little bit hurt, but not enough to keep him out 2 weeks later in his hometown, which is great news. But I'm assuming the next match in this little mini feud here is going to be Ruby Soho and Skye Blue taking on Ty Conti and Anna JAS. That'll probably be the next match in this feud. We saw Ruby Soho and Skye Blue say that that's what they want to do on, I think it was Elevation, but it might have been Dark, since both of them were taped in an arena this week. But you can check out both the Dark and Elevation reviews every single week on the same channel. Now we go from that. We see a hype video for next week's first round trios tournament matches after LFI, that is La Facción Ingobernables, defeated Lucha Brothers last week, again by messing with the mask of Penta Obscuro. Both factions will now bring in their third members to enter the trios tournament. Death Triangle reforms with the AEW All-Atlantic champion Pac joining up with Lucha Brothers, and as well as Roosh brings his brother Dragon Lee to help out La Facción Ingobernables. In this video, Rey Fénix says, the Lucha Brothers are coming for gold. And Penta says, Andrade, this hasn't finished. Death Triangle reunites and will win the trios titles. Then the segment ends. So these two teams do not meet in the first round. They could potentially meet in the semifinals, but in 2 weeks' time, we're told Death Triangle will take on United Empire, captained by Will Ospreay, and he teams up with Aussie Open. This will only be a week or so after Will Ospreay, not even a full week after Will Ospreay finishes G1, potentially bringing the G1 trophy with him to America 6 days after the finals. So that'll be a big thing. You can catch every single G1 review on this channel as well. I've been doing a lot of work. I'll have one up later today as we get to night 16. We've only got 2 more nights after that of block action. Then the semis and finals will be this Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday. And Thursday is the finals next week. So that's what I was saying. It's only 6 days after that. Will Ospreay will be coming to America wherever we are next week. I'm not even quite sure where Dynamite is, but that'll be a really big match in 2 weeks. But this week is the match with La Facción Ingobernables, and they'll take on the Young Bucks, who still have a mystery partner, of course, now with Hangman Page telling the Bucks he's not going to reform the Hung Bucks for the Trios tournament. He wants to be in the corner of the Dark Order instead. Everyone now assumes that the Young Bucks will team with a returning Kenny Omega. That should be an epic moment on Dynamite this week if it happens, but it also probably means that La Facción Ingobernables probably won't be meeting Death Triangle in the tournament, because you got to imagine if Kenny Omega's there, that they're not losing in the first round the LIF. But you never know. Death Triangle might not even be able to beat United Empire either. So we've got a lot of things in this tournament where we're not quite sure how it's going to play out. Maybe LFI meets Death Triangle in the semifinals. Maybe neither of them gets there. But it's great to have no idea how this tournament's going to play out. Another one of the first round matches in the Trios tournament will be previewed tonight on Rampage, as in the main event, Orange Cassidy takes on Ari Davari, ahead of Ari Davari's Trustbusters big tournament match in the first round next week on Rampage against Best Friends, Trent, Chuck, and Orange. So we'll see. We'll also have to see if tonight the Trustbusters add another to their growing stable, as Parker Boardrow takes on Sonny Kiss. Tuesday on Dark, Ari Davari offered Sonny a spot in the Trustbusters, and it looked as if Sonny was thinking it over. So maybe we won't even get a match next. It's scheduled to be next. Parker Boardrow of the Trustbusters against Sonny Kiss. Otherwise, Sonny is about to get destroyed by the young Brock Lesnar looking Parker Boudreaux if Sonny doesn't join. So after a commercial break now, Parker Boudreaux does come out first. He's got a 3-0 record, all in the last couple weeks on Dark and Elevation. And he's accompanied by Slim J and Ari Davari. So I thought maybe Ari Davari was going to recruit Sonny Kiss before this match happens, but Sonny Kiss sadly does not get an entrance and comes into this match with a 2022 singles record of 5-3. Sonny lost a trios match on Dark this week, but did look like the best on Sonny's team before getting the rest. The rest of Sonny's team got beat by the Trustbusters. So after that match is when Davari seemed to offer a spot to Sonny in the Trustbusters stable. Sonny looked it over, but looks focused and ready to start this match. So it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Looks like the match is actually going to happen instead. So the bell rings, and of course, Parker Boudreaux just destroys Sonny Kiss right away. Sonny is able to evade an attack and hit a handspring slap, but all that does is make Parker Boudreaux mad, who slams Sonny down hard, then hits the sides. The Parker Boudreaux hits his big side slam, pop-up side slam finisher for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Parker Boudreaux. So the crowd boos. Obviously, Davari really never did anything. We didn't find out if Sonny was actually offered the spot or what. But Parker Boudreaux wins this match in 30 seconds. We just move on to the next segment. But I suppose we could still maybe get those questions answered later tonight, as the Trustbusters will be back out for the main event. Nothing much to report about that. Parker Boudreaux, I mean, it looks like they might be pushing him a little too fast. I'm not quite sure if that's a good idea. Parker Boudreaux is very, very inexperienced. He got fired from NXT after only a couple months, I should say. He had maybe 2 or 3 matches. Those are the only matches he's had in his career. Now he's had 3 more. This is his 4th. So now Parker Boudreaux's 4-0 in AEW all over the last couple of weeks. Like I said, he looks like a young Brock Lesnar if he develops into anything close to what Brock Lesnar was able to do, then we've got a superstar on our hands. But in the meantime, they need to give him some time to develop, and I don't know if they're going to give him that time. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Now we're in the back. Andrade El Idolo is with Rush and Jose the assistant. And they're with 2/3 of the Andrade family office. So Andrade has his own faction, La Facción Ingobernables, where Jose the assistant is along Andrade, Rush, and Dragon Lee. But they also are the leaders of the Andrade family office. So we've got 2/3 of them here. It's Private Party, the Butcher, and the Blade. But Angelico, Jora Joel, and if you want to count her, the Bunny isn't here as well. So we haven't seen the Bunny with the AFO as recently, but we have seen that Angelico and Jora Joel are indeed still part of the Andrade family office. Anyway, Andrade then introduces the 4 of them to his friend Rush. Rush says, "Nice to meet you," very politely to the Butcher and the Blade. However, Rush says that he does not care about Private Party. Kind of just, I don't know, kind of came off looking like he was racist. But anyway, Andrade says, me, Dragon Lee, and Rush will win the trios titles. But you, Isaiah, you lost to Keith Lee in his debut, and you lost badly. Isaiah Cassidy says, "Shut up. People like you have been sleeping on us for a very long time, but it's all good. That changes next week when we beat Swerve in our glory for the tag team titles." Andrade then says, "I want those titles, okay?" And then the segment ends. So, wow, this was very, very much needed. I mentioned on, I think it was the Dark Review, the crowd has no clue if they should boo or cheer Private Party, as it was kind of unclear if Private Party were good guys or bad guys. But unlike the Butcher and the Blade, who love being mercenaries, Private Party has shown that they really don't like having being controlled by Andrade and the Andrade family office. So now it's definitely clear for all the fans to see that Private Party should be cheered because they are in AFO unwillingly, just like how MJF owned Wardlow's contract. So this was really good stuff here. Also, Private Party are going to have a great chance to prove to everyone that they are good wrestlers when they have the match against Swerve in Our Glory next week. I'm assuming it was on Dynamite, but we're told later on it's on Rampage, and it will be for the tag titles, even though Private Party aren't in the top 5. So, that's kind of dumb. Why do we even have rankings? I think what is it? I know they're getting ready for the trios tournament, but Dark Order's 10 and Evil Uno, for example, are 7-0 and in the top 5. I know there's other teams as well as like the Acclaimed are also not in the trios tournament. They're available for a top 5 matchup. It's ridiculous that we have rankings and people can just get title shots all the time without being in the top 5. Like, just get rid of the rankings then, if that's how you want to book things. Anyway, it's time for our next match. Austin and Colten Gunn. The Gunn Club come out next, accompanied by their father, Billy Gunn. The Gunn Club have a tag record of 10-3, having lost their last match, a dumpster match, to the Acclaimed. The Gunn Club are still banged up from that match coming into tonight, and the Gunn Club is by far the biggest omission from the trios tournament. The Gunn Club is 25-1 in trios matches. Why did we have to sit there through all the Dark and Elevation trios matches they had if they can't even make the trios tournament? It's ridiculous. I don't know why the trios tournament wasn't 16 teams instead of 8. And we find out with all the matches, we basically know all the matches announced for next week now, and there's no reason there shouldn't have been like 4 trios tournament matches this week, 4 next week, and there you go. There's like everybody that could have been in the first round. The first round's done with, and then you can go on to the quarters, semis, and finals. Like, it just really doesn't make any sense. There's so many missing teams. Like the Factory didn't even get invited. Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, and Jay Lethal could have been another trios team. There's just so many admissions But the Gun Club, in my opinion, is the biggest omission, not being in the trios team, having a 25-1 trios record. So again, what are the rankings? Do the rankings not mean anything? Private Party's getting a title shot without being in the top 5, and now we've got the highest record for wins in a trios team, can't even make the top 8. Instead, they're replaced by a team that's had only one trios match in AEW, that being Trustbusters. And then you got another team, Bruce Dragon Lee and Andrade El Idolo, have never had a trios match in AEW. So it really doesn't make any sense. You could have fixed everything by inviting 16 teams instead of the 8. And I'll explain as I go on how you could have done everything the way you want to do it, like it's set up right now. We found out all the matches for next week. They still could have done all the stories they wanted to, just made it trios tournament matches instead. But it is what it is. It's not going to change now. So, but I will talk about it later. Anyway, the Gun Club are challenged by Danhausen and Erick Redbeard tonight. So, formerly Erick Redbeard was known as Eric Rowan of the Wyatt family, and this should be interesting because the crowd always loves Danhausen, and Erick is sure to toss the Gun Club around with the massive cheers as well. We last saw Erick Redbeard in the Revolution pre-show where Erick joined Death Triangle for only one night only, replacing the injured Ray Phoenix in a trios match against the House of Black. House of Black, yet another trios team that could have been in the tournament, but they are not. And it makes no sense why they wouldn't be. Anyway, Danhausen comes out next. The roof absolutely blows off the arena as the crowd absolutely loves him. I have no idea why. I don't understand it. At least everyone's having fun. Erick Redbeard comes out next. Their tag team name is Beardhausen, which I mean, I get why they named it that, but is that supposed to be funny or what? Because it's not funny. Anyway, we see a recap from Dynamite where Stokely Hathaway tried recruiting Colten and Austin Gunn to his new stable alongside Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page, but Billy Gunn told Stokely to get out of here and basically threatened him. Erick Redbeard will start the match off with Colten Gunn. Erick by far is the largest man in this match, about twice the size of the other 3 men. The crowd chant "Butt Boys" at this point for the Gun Club as Erick throws Colten away. Austin tags in. He gets crushed by an Erick shoulder tackle. Gun Club then go out and talk with Billy Gunn about what they want to do. Billy just throws Austin back into the ring, and now Danhausen tags in as the crowd goes absolutely wild. Before Danhausen can curse, before he can get the curse off, Colten punches Danhausen, and we go to a picture ad break. Danhausen has some kind of hold in the ropes way past 5 seconds, but no DQ apparently. Colten then takes Danhausen down right after that, and there's people I watch on NXT Level Up in their 3rd match ever of their career that look like they belong in the ring more than Danhausen. I'm all for good fun and good times and all that, but Danhausen's completely unbelievable in a wrestling match, which is the main thing on a wrestling show, by the way. Anyway, we got to watch that goof Orange Cassidy in the main event after this. Why are they putting 2 back-to-back goofs in matches? I don't know why, but this ends up being a pretty bad episode of Rampage. There's still one more talking between that. We'll see if that can save it, but that doesn't either. There's another goof in that segment, so 3 back-to-back goofs the end Rampage tonight. Then we lose the picture-in-picture ad break for a little bit, which was a good thing because I didn't want to see this match. When we come back, Danhausen evades 2 attacks, and he tags in Erick Redbeard. Erick takes out both guns, hits a drop kick, which was impressive for his size. That was pretty cool. That knocks Colten out of the ring. Austin is the legal man. He gets thrown to the outside as well. Erick goes to the outside, gets a running start, and hits a nice-looking running crossbody that crushes both Gun Club members. Now Erick hits a spinning heel kick without even leaving his feet. That was cool for a 2 count. Colten then breaks up the pin. Erick has them both in a double suplex, hitting it. Danhausen now tags in. They double team Austin. Erick runs the ropes, but Bully Gunn pulls the ropes down for Erick to go spilling out of the ring, crashing to the outside. Austin now hits a famouser on Danhausen and gets the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall are the Gun Club. Well, at least Danhausen always loses, but I'm pretty sure that's going to start changing very soon. If you look at the reactions Danhausen's getting, I'm definitely worried he's about to start just beating people. Like, I don't even want to guess who he might beat, but people he shouldn't be beating. Anyway, at least the crowd's having fun, right? I think it's crap, but it's not all about me. Billy Gunn then gets to the ring and says he's mad at his sons for needing his help. Billy on the microphone says, come on, really? That's what you're going to give us? No wonder they call you the Butt Boys. And no wonder I missed the Acclaimed. What I'm talking about is you guys need to toughen up. You're not doing what I taught you. That's a fact. But that's okay, because next week on Dynamite, you've got another match. Maybe you can prove yourself there. Then Billy throws the microphone down, leaves, and then as the Gun Club leaves, Stokely Hathaway shows up in the crowd, trying to hand his business card to the Gun Club yet again. It looks like they didn't take it, but it'll be interesting to see what comes from the storyline. Are the Gun Club going to leave Billy Gunn? Are they going to join this new Stokely Hathaway faction that now has Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, and maybe even the Baddies and Jade Cargill, unless it's two separate factions, which it might be. Anyway, let's just move on. Because it's really, this is what I was talking about earlier, where we could have had a 16-team trios tournament. All these matches that we've now set up for Dynamite, why couldn't they've just, Tony Khan, fit all these same stories into a trios tournament? We could have had about 4 trios tournament titles, matches on Dynamite. Instead of all these random, we keep putting together random tag matches. It really makes no sense, and it is a letdown for people that were excited for the trios tournament as a whole, because why wouldn't you show, especially to the people that don't think we need trios titles, why wouldn't you show them, hey, look, there's 16 different teams that are in the trios division, and that's why we brought the trios title. But in the meantime, it looks like they couldn't bear, to me, if anyone was looking at this just objectively, they would look at it and see, hey, look, they have an 8-team tournament. It looks like they had to throw together a new one with the Trustbusters. People probably don't even know who the Trustbusters are. It looks like maybe they had to throw together another one, blah, blah, blah. And instead, you could have had the Factory, Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal. You could have had Andrade Family Office, could have had 2 teams in the tournament. Like, there's no reason that you couldn't have shown everybody that there's 16 legitimate trios teams in AEW, which there is. There might even be more than 16 trios teams that you could put together in AEW. But nope, they just want to put these random tag matches together for next week instead, where it could have just been more trios tournament matches. So we'll see what comes out. Maybe the trios tournament will still be really good. It should have some good matches alongside it, but it's really, really a letdown to me that it wasn't 16 teams. Like, why wasn't the Factory involved? And the biggest complaint is the Gun Club. The Gun Club are 25-1 in trios matches. I sat there and watched almost every single one of those matches on Dark and Elevation. You're telling me that everything, like, you're trying to tell me rankings and records matter. The Gun Club can't make the trios tournament despite being 25-1. Private Party are yet getting another title shot with a team not in the top 5. Like, so just get rid of the rankings, get rid of the records if you're going to book this way. Otherwise, try and book as if you're a legit sport, because that's why you're using rankings and records to do things. So it's just all kind of a mess. We'll see if the trios title's still good. It should be, but it could have been way better, and it could have proved to everyone when they saw a bracket that had 16 different teams on it, everyone will be like, oh, I guess that's why we needed trios titles, because look at how many teams we have. Instead, it's just a letdown. I'll move on. Anyway, remember, we've got another talking segment. I couldn't remember who it was, but it's Hook that comes out. So I guess I forgot, because every time we're told Hook's going to talk, he doesn't say anything, which is dumb. Anyway, Hook has now won the FTW title. Team Taz has disbanded, so maybe we'll finally hear Hook say something. The crowd cheers for Hook, but not nearly as much as they were 4 months ago. AEW really dropped the ball by not capitalizing on Hook's popularity. Yes, he's still developing. You didn't want to push him to the main event scene right then and there, but everything they've done with Hook, with putting him with Danhausen, who the crowd absolutely loves, but now Hook's not really with Danhausen, and all the times where he's just kind of disrespectful and taking up our time. Hey, we're going to the back. We're going to hear from Hook. Hook, what do you have to say about this? And then he just stands there. Thanks, Hook. So, like, it was AEW that made Hook do all that shit. So it's their fault that Hook is not getting over like he was. I mean, his career is not over. Obviously, it's still just starting. But he was so popular, and now the crowd really doesn't care at all. The crowd is kind of silent here for Hook's entrance. So Hook does a good job of actually getting the crowd to cheer him. Good thing from Hook here. He looks at the crowd and holds up the title on his entrance. That gets the crowd to cheer a little bit. So in the ring is Tony Schiavone, who says that the FTW title is always an open challenge from now on. So the FTW title will stay an open challenge, just like Ricky Starks was doing at the end of his run. Hook says, yep. And that's all we hear from Hook all night. Thanks for that, yep, Hook. This is exactly why people aren't cheering him as much. Hook seems like a goofball that doesn't want to take anything serious. I get that that's his character, but the people were getting really behind him, and now he's out here saying, yep, sounding like jumping Flash Jeff Farmer out here. Yep. But anyway, the music starts playing that we haven't heard before, and out comes Zach Clayton. We just saw Zach Clayton return to AEW on Dark, losing in that same Trustbusters Trios match I was talking about earlier with Sonny Kiss also involved. I had noticed that when I was complying the records for my Dark review, that Zach Clayton is a rare guy that has a win over assigned talent on Dark, and he beat Serpentico. I mean, Serpentico has 87 losses in his career, so that's not too big of a thing. But you do know that like a Lee Moriarty is always the person I go to when I think about someone that was just a jobber on those Dark and Elevations, then started like getting some more offense in his matches to the point where he had a competitive match. I think it was against Joey Janela, and then finally beat somebody. I can't remember who it was, probably Sonny Kiss or something like that. But anyway, I did notice that just on Tuesday about Zach Clayton, and now Zach Clayton comes out on Rampage with music and everything. So Zach says, my name is The Reality, Zach Clayton. Some of you might know me as a reality TV star from New Jersey, which I have no clue. I've never seen him from that. I saw you on Dark on Tuesday, though. And then anyway, Zach continues saying, Hook, I'm going to take that FTW title from you, you little wannabe tough guy from New York. I'm going to take it back to God's country, New Jersey, where it belongs. Hook is just chewing a giant wad of bubble gum. He looks pale and sickly. He nods his head and waves, come on in. Zach says, I would fight you right now. I really would, but I just got a new pair of boots made. They're not ready yet. Plus, I'm being a New Jersey guy, I do things on my own terms. So how about next week on Rampage? Zach looking like an idiot right here, talking about his boots and shit. But anyway, the Hook looking pale and sickly nods his head yes, holds up the title, and then the segment ends. So holy crap, was that a bad segment. Hook comes off as some kind of kid that doesn't belong in a wrestling ring, and he looks sickly. Zach was terrible at his promo. The content also sucked. You could have done just like last week when you had Mance Warner with a video that explained Mance Warner's character. You could have easily done that next week with Zach Clayton. Instead, we had to have this absolutely abominable segment on national TV. I'm sure a ton of people either changed the channel or left to go out for the night after that segment. And I'm already in a bad mood. We still got an Orange Cassidy main event next. 2 bad segments in a row with Danhausen and Hook being goofs. This might get messy if you're although, I mean, this match was fine, but I'm coming into this match with 2 different goofs in segments before this, and now I got to watch another goof in Orange Cassidy in the main event. When we come back from the ad break, Mark Henry has both trios teams on one side. Mark asks Davari, why did you recruit Orange Cassidy? Ari Davari says, Orange Cassidy is hands down one of the best on the roster, and now that my trust has officially kicked in, I'm investing in the best talent around. Look what I did for Slim J and Parker Boudreaux. And you don't want to join us? You want to keep hanging out with these 2 stupid goofs? Hey, that's fine. I'll just have to beat your butt in my old hometown that I left, which I had forgotten that Davari was from Minnesota. Which is where they are tonight. So another guy on Rampage tonight getting a hometown match. Orange Cassidy says, well, it looks like there's been enough talk. And then Mark Henry interrupts Orange by saying, hey, that's my line. And then he says, well, it looks like there's been enough talk. What the heck, Mark Henry? Just let Orange Cassidy do the saying and then get angry. Who wrote this segment? Why did you have to have Mark Henry tell us exactly what the joke was? We all understood what the joke was. It was Orange Cassidy was saying your line. You're just supposed to get angry. You're not supposed to repeat the line. So that was really dumb. Anyway, we're told on next Wednesday on Dynamite, it will be that first trios match in the tournament, the Young Bucks and a mystery partner, which everyone's assuming it'll be Kenny Omega, which will be a huge return in back-to-back weeks of huge returns with CM Punk returning last week. That'll be against La Facción Ingobernables. We'll also get the number 1 ranked woman in AEW, Toni Storm, taking on Kylan King, who makes her AEW return after tearing it up in NWA lately. The Gunn Club will take on the Varsity Blondes, which easily could have added a partner to make this a trios tournament match if we wanted to do 16 teams. Then Daniel Garcia takes on Bryan Danielson in a 2 out of 3 falls match, where I don't know why they booked that, because either you're going to have 50-50 booking or you're going to beat Bryan Danielson twice when he was one of the hottest guys in the entire roster at the beginning of the year. It's just, I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, next week on Rampage, it'll be Hook defending the FTW title against the Reality, Zach Clayton, who looks like he could be Hook's dad. And then Swerve and Our Glory defend the tag titles on Rampage against unranked Private Party. So what the heck is the point of having rankings? And we'll get our second quarterfinal match in the Trios tournament next week on Rampage as the Trustbusters go against the Best Friends. So you could look at that lineup for next week and tell me that it couldn't have been any worse if it featured a bunch of Trios tournament matches instead. You could have still told all the same stories you wanted to. It would have just been in the Trios matches instead, but it is what it is. Garcia and Bryan could have been the only singles match on Dynamite, and then Hook defending the FTW title could have been the only singles match on Rampage, with everything else being Trios tournament matches, and then a women's match as well. But, oh wow. It's time for the main event as the Trustbusters music hits. Ari Davari comes out accompanied by Parker Boudreaux and Slim J. Trustbusters are basically just the new version of the AFO, even though the AFO is still around. It's just a bunch of mercenaries with a guy with a lot of money buying out contracts of other wrestlers, where they basically they don't fit with each other, just like Private Party are in tag matches with the Butcher and the Blade, who they have like no redeeming qualities, or I mean, not redeeming qualities, but like nothing in common. So same can be said about Parker Boudreaux, Slim J, Ari Davari. So we've got another AFO, even though we didn't want the first one. But I'll give Trustbusters some time to see if it gets better. I've been following for a couple weeks now. You can follow their entire story on my Dark and Elevation reviews. But I've been saying this over and over. Orange Cassidy, yes, he was great. He showed at Forbidden Door against Will Ospreay that he is a great wrestler. I won't deny that. But I said on the Forbidden Door review, if they overexpose Orange Cassidy, I'm going to go right back to not liking him. And now this is like the 12th match in the last 2 months. Anytime he's not on a match, Orange Cassidy always appears on both Rampage and Dynamite every week. Way too much overexposed for the stupid shtick that I don't like. I understand that Orange Cassidy is a great wrestler, and I understand not everybody's going to like everything on a show. But man, they're really overexposing Orange Cassidy. You got to see him every single episode, twice a week. It's really bothering me. So anyway, Ari Davari gets on the microphone and says, "Lay down, let me pin you, then join us and let's get out of this town." Orange Cassidy lays on the ring, then rolls out of the way. JR forces out a fake laugh because this is not funny. Orange then goes all the way out the ring. Davari chases after. Orange goes back in the ring, runs out of the other side, hugs the best friends. This is dumb and a waste of time. In the ring now, Davari takes Orange down with a waist lock. Orange puts his hand in his pockets, showing his good agility here to take down Ari and then nipping up without his hands. Isn't there an armless wrestler out there that should be doing this kind of thing instead? Anyway, Ari then gets a hug from his guys. And why? Why would you have Parker Boudreaux giving hugs? What the hell? In a picture-in-picture ad break now, Orange gets his shoulder attacked. This might be the worst Rampage of all time. Parker and Slim stare down Trent and Chuck, but they don't do anything. They just stare down. Davari keeps control with a hold. Orange counters. Then we get a backside pin. That doesn't work. Davari then keeps control, throws Orange out of the ring. All 4 men are now staring each other down, not doing anything. Davari attacks Orange a little further, then goes back in the ring, stares down Trent. Nothing happens. In the ring now, Davari works over a chin lock as we come back from break. The rest of this match is pretty good, to be fair. The crowd is super loud for Orange Cassidy for some reason to fight back, but Ari Davari hits a sleeper hold applied. Orange then gets to the ropes, but Ari applies the same sleeper hold right after giving a clean break. The crowd cheers for Orange to fight back. Orange keeps his hand from falling 3 times in a row by putting his hand in his pocket. That probably should have been the end of the match, but sadly it keeps going. Then Davari stops Orange from leaping off the top rope. Orange knocks Davari off, hits a top rope crossbody, does Orange. Orange then gets caught with a kick and a neck breaker as the match finally gets good. Orange counters a suplex with one of his own. Orange then flops around like a fish on the mat as a way to fire up, I guess. Then Orange hits a couple of fake kicks adding that word fake to wrestling, which is always a great thing to show everybody. Your fake wrestling show has fake things on it with your fake kicks. Then Davari tries a super kick, but Orange evades it, hits a kick of his own. Not fake this time, but it's still fake because it's wrestling. Because remember, he just reminded everybody, hey, what you're watching is fake. Don't forget what you're watching is fake. Then Davari counters an orange punch into an Uranagi slam. Every single person in AEW has an Uranagi slam. Add Davari to that list. Davari then looks to end it with a hammerlock lariat, but Orange counters it, hitting a tornado DDT. Orange then goes up to the top rope, hitting a diving DDT, but Davari is able to kick out. Orange then looks to end it, but Slim J gets up on the apron. Best friends pull him down, but Parker Boudreaux comes over, grabs Trent and Chuck. Orange dives to the outside onto Parker Boudreaux to stop the best friends from getting attacked here. Back in the ring, Davari takes control, setting Orange up on the top rope and hitting the Iconoclasm, which is a straight jacket slam off the top rope. Orange is able to kick out at 2. Davari now motions that he wants to end it with the hammerlock lariat, but Orange evades the attack, hitting an orange punch for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Orange Cassidy. Then Slim J attacks Orange right after the match. Chuck and Trent send Slim out of the ring, but Parker Boudreaux comes in, hitting a double lariat on the best friends. Orange and Parker now stare down. Sonny Kiss comes down, and she kicks Orange Cassidy in the yam bag, joining the Trustbusters. So Parker hits the side slam on Orange Cassidy, and it definitely looks like Sonny Kiss has joined the Trustbusters. I don't know why Sonny would have waited till after getting destroyed by Parker Boudreaux earlier to join, and not just saying I want to join before the match, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll see Sonny even substitute for somebody in the Trios tournament. We do know that the Dark Order entered 4 people for their Trios team, so it might not be late to enter a 4th because the Young Bucks haven't even named their 3rd guy yet, so it might not be too late. We might see Sonny Kiss in the tournament. Anyway, this match was good. I'm not going to say it was bad, but like I said, way too much Orange Cassidy in AEW. His shtick really wears thin after so many appearances in a row. I get why Tony Khan's doing it because the crowd seems to love it, but for everybody that was merely tolerating his shtick before, and yes, someone like me, I'll say, oh yeah, Orange Cassidy had a great match at Forbidden Door against Will Ospreay, and he is a good wrestler, but his shtick sucks, and it's a one joke thing that's not funny, and then everybody laughs at it. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm at some point I'm sure like we'll get Orange Cassidy with the AEW World title, Danhausen will be the TBS title, and then Hook will own every other title. So those 3 goofs are probably going to own the business. Everyone like me will stop watching AEW and move on to something else. But as long as that doesn't happen, I'll still be tuning in. There's a lot of really good things in AEW. It's a great alternative to the big dogs, and it's a great show usually. This was not a very good episode of Rampage. I'm assuming people that do like Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and Hook still will probably think this is a bad episode of Rampage because I actually do like the Trustbusters, but I'm sure everybody that likes Danhausen, Hook, and Orange hates the Trustbusters. So they probably thought this was a bad episode of Rampage as well. We just all thought it was for different reasons. I was fine with the Trustbusters, but having 3 goofball characters and back-to-back segments to end the show was absolutely too much for me. So we'll see how next week goes. Hopefully with the return of Kenny Omega, that should be a huge deal if that indeed is the Young Bucks partner on Dynamite. That's really that's guaranteed to be the best match. All the other matches on Dynamite really don't look that great. I understand we just had a great Dynamite last week, so not every single match can be great. Tony Storm taking on Kylan King is going to be a really, really good match in the women's division. Kylan King was basically at Dark and Elevation tapings all the way throughout the pandemic. Ever since then, Kylan King went to go do her own thing, including on NWA, where she was featured in the title match at the very last pay-per-view, almost beating Camille for the NWA women's title, and Camille's been champion for over a year. So Kylan King's been really impressing lately. That's going to be an awesome match against Tony Storm. But other than that, we have the Gun Club taking on Varsity Blondes with the threat of Billy Gunn maybe leaving the Gun Club or the Gun Club leaving Billy to join Stokely Hathaway. So that'll just be a storyline match. But the other big match, Daniel Garcia taking on Bryan Danielson, 2 out of 3 falls. So that should be a good one as well. Now that I think about it, we've got at least 3 really good matches set up for Dynamite with maybe a potentially one of the biggest stars in the company and the world, Kenny Omega, also returning 1 week after CM Punk returned. We also might get a CM Punk I hope that's how Dynamite starts, with CM Punk with an promo talking about what he's been doing and that he's back and that he's going to challenge Moxley at All Out in his hometown. So that would be a really good way to start Dynamite, and especially if maybe the main event will be the trios match, and that'll be when Kenny Omega makes his return. Otherwise, the main event could be Daniel Garcia against Bryan Danielson. Again, although they were already in a main event, and people are already kind of making fun of how many damn main events Daniel Garcia gets. I think he's had like 5 or 6 main events in 2022. So, and then don't forget, on Rampage, we've got 2 title matches next week. One of them, the FTW titles, Hook taking on the Reality Zach Clayton, who could look like he could be Hook's dad. Then Swerve in Our Glory, also on next week's Rampage, will defend the tag titles against unranked Private Party. So again, what's the point of having rankings? And the second quarterfinal of match that we'll get in the trios tournament will also be on next week's Rampage, Trustbusters against Best Friends, and we might even see Sonny Kiss join that Trustbusters for that match if it's not too late to substitute. So not a very good episode of Rampage. They did fit a lot into there. What up, Blitz? I said goofs, not gooses. Gooffs. But yeah, no, I'm all for fun things. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, everything has to be serious and all that, but it's a little too much sometimes. And to have the 3 comedy characters and back-to-back segments tonight was just too much for me to handle. But it is what it is. I've got 2 other reviews that I still have to do tonight before I can go to bed. So I will be back with New Japan G1 coverage in about 6 hours or so, and then I'll also have a review eventually of Impact Wrestling's Emergence pay-per-view from tonight. So I've got a long night ahead of me. Wish me luck. I'm going to get going. Otherwise, I could talk about AEW for a little longer, but like I said, I got a big night ahead of me. So thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.